Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the South East London Chamber of Commerce and the Royal Borough of Greenwich's webinar on the local business recovery grant schemes. This is being recorded today and will be available on the South East London Chamber of Commerce's website later today, and we'll put it out on social media so you know where to find it. I'm going to ask everyone to keep on mute, and we're going to have a presentation from Patricia Salami. And when we've seen the very impressive and informative slides, I'm going to ask anyone with a question to put up your little yellow electronic hand. And when you do, if you can give your name and the name of your business, because that's always interesting to know the sector you're working in. So we'll have questions at the end. And I'm going to hand over to Patricia now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to take you through a brief presentation of the business support that's available within the Royal Borough of Greenwich, describe a few of the grants for you and talk you through some of the eligibility criteria for the grants, and also take you through some of the tips and points that you might want to take note of. If you have any questions, I'll take them at the end if you don't mind. It just makes things a little bit easier, and it just means that if you wanted to just watch the recording, you can just watch the presentation as opposed to listening to the individual questions. Okay, so I'll start off. Senga, can you roll the presentation, please? Thank you. So the COVID business grants, I'll just give you a brief overview. So some of you may know that actually in Greenwich, we've given out over 11,950 grants, totaling approximately 36 million. And that's been since the beginning of the pandemic. So since November, we started giving out the grants. We have recently been allocated an additional 1.8 million grant funding, which we are administering on behalf of the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, BES. They are the people that we report to on anything that we're doing. There are currently 5 different business grant schemes available for businesses within the Royal Borough of Greenwich, and I'll take you through those 5. We've tried to make the process simple and straightforward, but businesses are the ones that will tell us whether we've actually done that or whether we've made it more complicated. All business grants are subject to state aid, and please make sure that you consider this when applying or accepting the grant. So the first one is the additional restrictions grant round 2. So this is a section of the grant where we're talking about it's open to all businesses, small businesses, which are not eligible for the local restriction support grant or eligible for the restart scheme. So if you've had something from the restart scheme or from the local restrictions grant, then you would not be eligible for this particular grant. And also we're talking about people that have been seriously impacted by COVID-19. So when we say severely impacted, we're talking about a loss of income of something like 40% or greater for the period April 2020 to March 2021, just to make it specific. And with that, can you go back, please? With that, you get a one-off grant of £5,000, which will be given to you. And we're focusing this one on sort of like any sector. So you don't have to be, you could be from the retail, entertainment, arts, home base, a market trader. As long as you haven't had one before, you'll be fine to qualify for this one. The next one is the Business Resilient Grant, which offers a grant of up to £10,000 to support businesses in their adaptation, resilience and innovation. And this, we've got about 250,000. So that will support roughly around 25 businesses. This is to people that, if you think about it, if you're a business that wants to make yourself more sustainable, improve your practices, safeguard jobs, so get people or maybe create some new jobs that will enable you to expand and grow your trade, this is for you, okay? The next recovery grant, this grant will provide a grant of £10,000 to small businesses signed up to a minimum 12-month lease on a vacant property and have commenced trading. Again, we've got about 250,000 set aside for this. Some of the funding may change depending on the demand, but this is really, we currently have 120 shops that are vacant on the high streets. And what this is to do, it's about taking up one of these vacant retail premises within a high street and trading. And you'll get the, having signed up a lease of 12 months, then you'll get that money. The Hospitality Recovery Grant supports businesses operating within the hospitality sector. It's specifically related to them, and it's about a top-up grant of either £2,000, £3,000 or £7,000, depending on your rateable value. So the rateable value, so if your rates are between 15,000 and below, you'll get £2,000. If your rateable value is between 15,001 and 50,099, you'll get 3,000. And if it's above 51,000, then you'll get the 7,000. And to qualify for this, you must have been eligible to receive the Restart Hospitality. It doesn't mean to say if you haven't received it, it doesn't matter. As long as you were eligible to receive it, you'll get the 7,000 top up, okay? Or the 3,000 or 2,000, depending on what you are. So the focus is on leisure grants, hospitality or leisure, pubs, restaurants, cafes, bars, etc. Very specific, and that's a Hospitality Recovery Grant. And the last grant that we've got at the moment is Sector Recovery Grant or Business Support. And this scheme grants businesses providing support to other businesses or other groups representing key sectors or areas in the Royal Borough of Greenwich. So, you know, it's not for individual businesses, it is for businesses supporting other businesses. So this will you can get grants on this one between 25 to 75,000. And things that we've looked at are provision of environmental audits, support to businesses in the way of business planning or financial forecasting. So it is business to business support. It's not something for your own individual business. Thank you. Do you want to go to the next one, please? Having said that, there is also a variety of business support provisions available in the area, and if you log on to our website, you'll see them. But some that I think you might want to note are the e-business program, which is run by Tony Goldstein and his what's it called, the Centre Enterprise. The support provision will help you develop your online retail presence and help your business make more effective use of the social media platforms. You know, in this current climate, this is so necessary for a lot of businesses. And, you know, for Greenwich residents, it is free. Businesses, it is free. So, you know, sign up to the e-business program. You can use the link there. The other one is the Greenwich Cooperative Development Agency, GCDA. They run courses that aim to support people to start and develop their businesses in two particular areas, one being food and one as a social enterprise. So this is the time to, you know, think about it, wanting to set up something that will help your neighbours or as a social enterprise, then this is where you can go. The other one that I will point out is South East London Community Energy, which is this will collaborate with local businesses and communities to develop financial, social and environmental sustainable projects to address the twin challenges of climate emergency and fuel poverty. This also includes a green business audit. So if you think about having a green business audit, I would recommend it. These are the areas of intervention that would enable you businesses to reduce their costs. So if you haven't thought about it, this is something you can sign up for. Basically, it will help you to look at your business practices and help you to think about smarter ways of doing things that will enable you to reduce cost as well. Another program that is on there is the business building legacies. And this program is delivered by East London Business Place, and it aims to help SMEs to identify and access potentially tendering opportunities arising from the current and future capital developments taking place within Greenwich. So if you think about all the work that we're doing in Greenwich at the moment, all the regeneration in the various areas, this will help businesses to get on the supply chain development and the buyer engagement support. So again, if that's something that you want, please do click on the link. There are loads of other schemes. I mean, our host today, South East London, they provide business support to businesses. So if you want to look at it, if you look onto our website, I think I've recorded that we have at least 20 areas of business support provision for businesses within Greenwich. Exclusions to the grant scheme. I think it's important that you need to understand that businesses which have already received grant payments that equal the maximum level of state permitted should not really are excluded. And that is, at the moment, it's 1.6 million or 435,000. So I'm sure most of our businesses will not hit this one, but it's something that we need to remind you of. Businesses that are in administration, insolvent, or where a striking off notice has been made are not eligible for funding under this scheme. And also businesses that are excluded or have two or more of the following, i.e. the turnover is more than 10.2 million, the balance sheet total is more than 5.1 million, or they have a head count of staff of more than 50,000. So basically they wouldn't qualify. And I think the last one on there is if you've received some of these grants previously, then you will not qualify either. So the amounts of financial assistance allowance is 335,000 over a period of 3 years. And with COVID, it's 1.6 million. So again, most of our businesses should be fine. Some of the top tips before applying for any of the grants, I will say, please make sure you have access to the following items electronically. So in other words, save them as a PDF, get them done. Your passport of the person that's going to put in the application form. It has to be the person that's filling it out and their passport. Details of the registered office of the business, very important. Company and VAT numbers of the business entity, if appropriate, because I do understand there are some home-based businesses that won't have that information. The last 4 months bank statements in a PDF format. That will be important because that will show that you're a trading business and that you're still progressing. And lastly, or not lastly, actually, there's 2 more. Prepare the 2,000 word statement detailing your proposal in advance. The 2,000 word statement is where we're asking you things like, you know, what do you want to spend the money on? How are you spending the money? What do you spend?
Yeah, so
what you're spending the money on, how you're spending it, what impact that money will have on your business, and the kind of outcomes that you're expecting. So that's that. We will come on to that further on. And then lastly is ensure that you apply before the closing date of the 7th of January. And the reason why is because I don't know about you, but anytime I've decided I'm just about to press the send button, there is one technical error or the other that enables me, that causes a delay. So we're just saying the closing date is the 7th of January. Try and get it in before the 6th if you can, to ensure or avoid any technical issues. I will now take questions, and my colleague Mervyn will assist in answering some of these questions. Thank you. Helen, you're on mute. Helen, you're on mute. Helen, you're on mute.
I think Helen just disappeared.
I think so too.
It's okay, she'll be back on.
She'll be
Technical
back on in a minute.
difficulties.
Marcus has a question.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you go ahead?
Yeah, if your business received help with the additional restrictions grant at the beginning of this year, does this mean you're not eligible for this round?
You're not eligible for the additional restrictions grants, but you are eligible for any of the other grants that you qualify for. But you wouldn't get another additional restrictions grant, no.
And who's the best person to ask if you need to check any eligibility details?
The business team. The business team. Send an email to business.
Yeah, so if you send it through. Yeah,
Greenwich.
sorry, Patricia.
Yeah, do you want me to finish?
Yeah.
business@royalgreenwich.gov.uk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Patricia. Apologies, I managed to take myself out of the entire meeting because I
It's fine.
couldn't unmute myself. But
Okay.
I'm unmuted.
We've
I've
had
got-
one question from Marcus while you were
Yeah,
out, and that was around can you apply for an ARG if you've already had one this year? And the
Right.
answer to that was no.
No. Definitive no.
You can't apply for an ARG, but you can apply for one of the others if you
Yeah.
if you qualify. Yeah.
Yeah. So another reason to go to the website and really see, what's there, what you're eligible for. I've got a question. Are charities eligible for any of the schemes?
Yes, they are, as long as they meet the eligibility criteria.
Right. Okay. This is a question that's come in to us from a chamber member, and it is they started trading 2 months ago, and can they apply, for any of the grants?
Mervyn, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, with regards to new businesses that have started trading in terms of moved into the borough or taken on new premises, whilst they might not be eligible for the High Street Recovery Grant, because in order for the High Street Recovery Grant, properties need to be sort of vacant from or after the 3rd of December. However, they can still apply for the business resilience grant. So if they outline in terms of what investment they're going to be making into their business, adaptations to premises and such like, they can submit a proposal under that scheme for a grant of up to £10,000.
Thank you. And I think I've got another one here, and I'm a bit unclear on this one. What's the state subsidy allowance? I think it used to be called state aid, that applies. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the state, formerly known as the state aid rules, it relates to sort of unfair competition, amongst European countries, really, in terms of disadvantaging businesses. So that the allowance there was 335,000 over a 3-year period. However, that's been extended in light of the emergency COVID grants, effectively. So that subsidy allowance is increased to 166,000 over the 3-year period. So, yeah.
What was that figure again, Mervyn? What was that figure?
Oh, sorry, where is it again? It was on one of the slides, actually.
Okay, don't worry, we can. Because I was a bit vague on that.
It's 1.6 million.
1.6 million, sorry. 335,000 was the initial allowance, but the emergency allowance is 1.6 million. So a lot of businesses, I would have thought, don't necessarily meet that allowance or haven't hit that subsidy allowance. So, but it is one of the requirements of the grant funding that a declaration needs to be made that businesses haven't exceeded that threshold.
Lovely, thank you for that one. And another question I've got, could I apply to the SRG scheme to fund an activity for my business?
No. So that one is definitely, it's more likely to be a business resilience grant. The SRG grant, the sector recovery grant, is literally for businesses to provide business support to other businesses within the same sector or in the same area. It's not for what I would be saying to people that are looking to do that as a business, is to look to the business resilience grant.
Thank you. And can the self-employed or a sole trader apply?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah, I think it's just dependent on what it is you're doing. You're having to be very specific about what it is you're doing, what impact the grant will have on you, and what impact it will have generally. So I think it is looking more, you know, one of the things I always say to people is, like, you might have some great ideas, but they just might be ideas. So if you're going to say, oh, I'm just going to buy a piece of machinery, but then the piece of machinery doesn't tell you how it's going to impact on your business or impact on your sales, then do you see what I mean?
I'm with you. I feel I'm asking a lot of questions. Do we have little yellow hands up?
Yes, Diego first and then Karen second.
Thank you. Diego, over to you.
Thanks, Helen. Patricia, you mentioned the sector recovery grant. I'm currently dealing with some customers at the moment. We've also invested in quite heavily into recycling, where we can collect scrap from our customers and non-customers, so to speak. Would that still qualify as business to business? Inspire me to sales with them, obviously selling to them and anything they generate, because we sculpture fulfillment, we also sell a lot of raw material to them. And any waste they have, we arrange to collect it specifically for that sector and recycle that.
So what would the grant be used for? If it's something you're doing already, what would it be used for?
Well, we would need manpower to be able to, first of all, collect it, and then pick up all the scrap, recycle it, compact it all together, palletize it.
I still think that that's not part of business support, because you're not building up any businesses. You're just encouraging people to recycle, which is something we'd want people to do anyway. I think it's about how.
Yeah, I was a bit unclear about that, because I think it's specific for that sector. Everything that is generated, the expendable line is for that sector. So we're encouraging recycling in that sector. Collecting scrap, not only from customers, as I said, from other people that we don't deal with. So they know we've got this recycling compactor that we you know. But the other thing that crossed my mind was to set up a separate company specifically for that, which I was toying with the idea a couple of months ago, specifically for recycling.
Well, first and foremost, none of the grants are for startups. So you would actually be looking for a startup. You would be probably talking to Helen and her team about how you go about that. I would say that just listening to what you're saying, it doesn't sound like it meets the sector recovery grant. And as I said, it is quite specific, and I can be honest and say we're actually targeting businesses that provide business support, that's their job to do, to do more of that, if that helps you in any way. In other words, it's somebody's role to actually provide business support. So we will give out sector recovery grants to allow them to do additional to what they normally do as business support.
Yeah, the only thing I would say to that is, because some of our customers are struggling to get rid of the price, right? There's no ways of doing that without getting the scrap to landfill. So we've invested this bit of kit specifically to look to support that business, the businesses.
What I can suggest you do is have a chat with who is it? Celsey, yeah. Have a chat with Celsey. That might be something that they would work with you to actually develop into something else. I would have a chat with them. That's the kind of thing that they do. So I would have a chat with them.
Sorry, Celsey, what's
Southeast London. Go on.
Sorry. Southeast London Community Energy.
Yes.
It was on the slide.
Right. Yeah,
And if I can say, we're going to have a big push in the new year on green businesses, and we're working with Chelsea on this front, and they're very specific. And we've got quite a few chamber members that are logged in with them for future, future plans. So, Diego, so we can, sort that one out. I think realistically, and so okay, thank you, Diego. So can we go over to Karen?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So my name's Karen and the company name is First Choice Caribbean Hut Lunches. So we do Caribbean food, we cater, we do lunches, we do corporate events, outdoor events or private functions. So we've been trading since 2014. I've spoken to Mervyn before. And obviously, so we've been trading since 2014 and we now think that it's time to take the next step. So I'm a sole trader. I work from my home. I work in my kitchen and cook from my house. We'd like to expand the business a bit more. We're actually thinking of looking for a premises, but we're not sure whether the business resilience grant or the high street recovery grant, which one we would go for, which is suited to our business.
Well, depending on if you take on a vacant property, then you'd go for the business high street recovery one. And if you were looking at business resilience, then you'd look at the business resilience. It really is about if what you put on, what you decide you're doing, are you looking for? So for instance, for the high street recovery one, we would expect you to have signed a lease, a 12-month lease with somebody, and then you'd get the money. So that's maybe the one that you're looking at. Obviously, because we want to support as many businesses as possible, we wouldn't suggest that you apply for both, but we would say, you can, well, you could apply for both, but you wouldn't get both. I think that's probably what I'd be saying. So I think it's a question of, which one would benefit your organization more. And obviously, in the mix of things, that's why we're waiting for the closing deadline. We will look at the application forms that we've received, and then we will, make a decision based on a number of things. So, what the impact that's going to happen with the grant, the where you're located. So, we are looking at trying to, if you like, re-establish our economy. So we'd want to ensure that there's something happening in all parts of the borough and stuff like that. So there are a number of things that we'd look at, but yeah. But you're right, because I can see what you're looking for. Either of these grants would be beneficial to you.
Okay, so you said for the high street recovery grant, you need to sign a lease. Where do you get the details or
vacant properties?
Yes.
Mervyn?
Yeah, what we can do, Karen, is send you a list of available retail premises that you'd be looking for sort of restaurant type operation. Is that right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So what we'll do, if by tomorrow, we'll send you a list of available retail premises that might for you to review.
Yeah, okay. So technically, I could put in for both of them, and then obviously you will decide which one's more suited. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Karen, if I can just chuck in, I think, because I know you live at sort of, the top of Shooters Hill, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. So you find yourself a really nice shop, location, and you can, I'm sure you can have your kitchens there, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And GCDA, as you know them, they'll always help you with, if you're setting kitchens up. Because that's what their sector recovery funding is for, and they're the experts. That's what they do.
Exactly.
So I think hopefully we're pushing Karen in the right direction.
Well needed. Thank you.
Good. And let us know when your shop opens, and we'll all
of course.
Super.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do remember Karen, this is being recorded, Helen.
I know. No. Senga, do we have any questions? More questions?
Yes, we have a question from Jazz.
Hi, thank you. Hello, everyone. I have a question. It's regarding what's the criteria for qualifying as a business under Royal Borough of Greenwich.
Jazz, may I ask a question? I should have repeated this. Can you tell us the name of, what your business?
Yeah, I run a wellbeing business. We've been founded since September 2018.
Right.
I should say that I was a Greenwich resident for 5 years, and I've just moved to the wrong side of Blackheath, so I'm now a Lewisham resident. So I myself, that's why I'm on this, because I saw it on my feed, because obviously I was
right
going on in Greenwich.
Okay.
The business itself is registered in Covent Garden, just obviously just for company registration purposes. It's physically all done remotely, but we work in corporate wellbeing. But more recently, we've moved into public and community wellbeing. So one of my biggest clients is a Greenwich-based developer, Night Dragon. So I work, and I used to live on the Peninsula Ward. So throughout lockdown, we've been working with them, doing community wellbeing, helping on everything from mental wellbeing, physical wellbeing, emotional wellbeing, doing everything from workshops to classes, physical classes, wellbeing festivals, again on Zoom as well as in person. And that's why I asked what qualifies as a Greenwich-based business. Because yes, I was a Greenwich resident, but equally my business's registered office is in Covent Garden, but we do run, and our biggest projects are run in Greenwich itself. Does that make sense? I don't know, Patricia, if you've got a view on that in terms of qualifying criteria.
Sorry, I was just going to come in there, Patricia. Yeah, just in terms of the schemes, in terms of eligibility, obviously one aspect is that the business needs to be occupying commercial premises within the borough and trading from those premises. Alternatively, it does extend to home-based businesses. So if you're a Greenwich resident that's operating, from your home, or effectively that's your business address effectively, then we will consider applications from home-based businesses as well. I think
no, absolutely. I saw that it said home-based businesses, absolutely. But that's what I'm explaining, that I'm technically no longer. So one side of I'm on Lee Road in Blackheath. One side of the road is Greenwich, and the other side is Lewisham, and I'm now on the Lewisham side.
Can I intervene? Because the South East London Chamber of Commerce, we cover the boroughs of Royal Greenwich, Lewisham, Bromley, Bexley and Croydon. And my suggestion, Jazz, is that you get in touch with Lewisham.
Okay. Because I'm a Lewisham resident. Yeah.
You're a Lewisham resident, so and you would ask Lewisham from the point of view of being a Lewisham resident and running your business, from home, because there are a lot of people that have, you have a large client in Greenwich, but you're not based there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, and I think you'll find that they'll be very, very helpful.
So probably one other thing, and I don't know if it makes a difference. I do have so I work really closely with the O2 and the team there. So they're a corporate client as well as we, I don't know if you're all familiar with the O2, and that now they have the Icon outlet, the shopping outlet.
But so that's all in, if I can, sorry, I'm just going to say this because, they're all our chamber members, and it's in Greenwich, but it's Lewisham you need to apply.
But I was just going to add something there, which was that we have a physical unit within the O2 where we offer yoga, Pilates, wellness classes and workshops. So does that make a difference that we have physical premises in the Greenwich?
Well, you're not registered, are you?
Sorry?
You're not registered. Maybe have a conversation with the O2.
Are you registered in the O2 as a business?
We have a physical presence.
No, you say you have a physical presence. Are you registered? It's the registration that means if your business is registered as being delivered from there, then you can apply for that address. But at the moment, it sounds like you.
That's one address, and then we have a public-facing studio. For want of a better word, a retail premises within the O2.
Yeah, I think maybe you want to take this offline. I think at the end of the day, we're saying that based on the information you've given us to date, you do not qualify for something in Greenwich.
Yes.
But you do qualify from the other side of things. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Jazz, I'm very happy, if you would like, we can send you, the correct contact detail after this call in Lewisham.
That would be great. Thank you, Helen.
Okay, cheers. Senga, that's on your list of things to do. Have we any more questions?
No hands up currently.
Does anyone else want to put their hand up? One thing, I've got a few questions in that. They may have been covered when I took myself offline. My business has received a previous ARG and HRG grant. Can I apply for the High Street Recovery Grant or the Business Resilience Grant?
You can apply for the Business Resilience Grant.
Right.
But if you've received an ARG or an HRG, you can apply for the Business Resilience Grant and no, the High Street Recovery Grant. Yes, you can. Yes.
So, thank you for that. And another grant one. So if I received a grant earlier from so many acronyms here, ARG, HRG, Restart schemes, can I apply for the High Street Recovery Grant or the Business Resilience Grant?
Okay, so if you received an ARG, what's they called? I forgot what they stand for now. ARG grant or Hospitality Recovery Grant. You cannot apply for the ARG or the HRG again. You can't do that, but you can apply for the High Street Recovery Grant if you are taking on a vacant unit. Or you could apply for a Business Resilience Grant if you are looking at expanding or sort of like moving from a home based into doing something else, or you can apply for a Business Resilience Grant.
Thank you. Thank you. So there are lots of options. So really, everyone needs to go onto the RBG website.
Yes.
And really sit there and have a look and study all the
grants. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, one thing I will say is there is only £1 million. We do have 11,950 businesses in the borough.
Yeah.
So we just need to be, so the criteria is quite wide and it's to enable as many businesses as possible. But at the end of the day, on some of the grants, we'll only be giving it to 20, so 2 grants will only be 50 businesses. So we just need to put it in context. The ARG is there, for businesses that haven't previously applied. And that's a nice kind of thing that will help you develop your business. All of the grants are, we want to get the money out the door before the 31st of March. I can tell you that much. Right. The closing date for the grants is the 7th of January. Yep, 7th of January. It will probably take us a while to filter through because we will have to do checks on them. We might ask you for additional information, etc., etc. So we're looking to say that we probably might hopefully start getting the first payments out by the beginning of February, but we would have sent everything out before the 31st of March because that's the last day that we have to have these things done. I think all I would say to people is get your application forms in, get the supporting documentation in on time. If you get them in before, we are looking through and not making assessments. We're going through and doing the due diligence checks as they come in. And I think to date we have received, is it 71 altogether, Mervyn?
That's right. Yeah. 71 applications already.
Yeah. So just to give people an indication that, it was launched on the 3rd of December. So we've received 71 to date. So there is only a small window. I do understand one of the questions was it takes time to sort out a lease, but all I will say is we will look at what paperwork you've got and we will assess it on that basis. So so submit. And
Can I ask a question? If an application is submitted and it's rejected, is there an appeals process?
No.
No, basically, because we're all adhering to the rules that are very
Exactly.
firmly set out. So you're in or you're out.
Exactly. And I think I was saying to somebody else the other day that I think we got something where somebody said, oh, can we challenge the eligibility criteria? And the answer is no, because the eligibility criteria is set by the government. All we are doing is administering it in such a way that it makes it easier for people to apply. So I think Juliet's got her hand up.
Yeah, Juliet.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone, and well done. I just want to ask, like, if you have two businesses, like one home business and the other one, you've got shop, maybe, can you apply for the two, or you just have to apply for one?
You can apply for the two.
Nothing
stops you applying.
What is your business, Juliet?
I'm a home childminder, and I also have a kind of a shop where I do some productions. In Woolwich.
So they're two totally separate businesses and not related.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, potentially you could.
Okay, then that's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. Do we have any more questions, Senga?
No questions right now currently.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask one because this always, for me, I'm a great one. I do like to download a good form. And so I can read it. So then when I do everything online, I've actually got the information, because I am the person that will leave one bit out. And we all know that when we do go online to do the applications, we've got to have everything available electronically. And we'll find that out from the website, and we saw it earlier. But will it be possible to have a copy of the full application form in a PDF format? That's my question.
Thank you for that, Helen. At the moment, it's not there, but by this time tomorrow, it will be on the website. We realized when we were going through that might be a request. So we're aiming to get it up as soon as possible on the website. So you'll be able to download a copy of the application form and kind of fill it in by hand and then start typing it. So yeah.
That's a really good thing. So people can, maybe, kick off at the weekend,
yeah,
get all the electronic eligibility, work out what you're going to say and do it.
Yeah.
Because that means, because next Monday is the 20th, isn't it? When we're all
exactly.
So time is marching on, and this deadline is the 7th of January. And we've got Christmas and New Year.
Yes.
It's tight, isn't it?
It's very tight. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but somebody did actually ask, are we going to extend the deadline?
No.
And I'm thinking,
no.
It is a tight window. I think, if anything, that what I will say is that if we come to the 7th and we're looking at the application forms and there is a need to extend it, then we will. But at the moment, there is no plans to extend it.
Good. Well, that's been really informative.
Marcus has a question.
Come on, Marcus.
If part of the work I do is as a sole trader, and I got additional restrictions grant help for the limited company that I run, it's a production company to make a documentary, and the rest is more as kind of for freelance work. Does that mean I can apply as a sole trader if I haven't had additional restrictions grants assistance for that, even though I've had it for the limited company specifically? Just to throw in an complicated one at the end. But
I was just about to say, is it a totally different company? As in, is it separate? Are there two separate companies? If it's two separate companies,
the company's been set up specifically to make a documentary. So it's like a special purpose vehicle. It's a limited company. It might get used to develop some others. The sole trader is really as a freelance, using my skills to work for other people.
The only thing I will say, Mervyn, can you correct me if I'm wrong? Isn't there you have to have been trading from when because it sounds like the ARG that he's looking at?
Yeah, so it's before the 12th of April. So we've got that condition. So obviously the business needs to be trading before the 12th of April 2021.
Yeah, once 2000. Sorry.
Yeah, and the other aspect is that obviously, as was mentioned earlier, part of the ARG scheme, you'll need to sort of demonstrate that your business has been significantly impacted.
Exactly.
So obviously, we'd require sort of business statements just indicating your level of income and how it's been impacting, you know, over the recent sort of 12 months, effectively. So if you can sort of demonstrate that, you know, you operate as a sole trader, you know, that's been going on for a while, and also can identify the income coming in from, you know, from that side, from that strand, and then can show that, you know, the level of trade or that has fallen, then, you know, it will be sort of considered on that basis. But you will need to demonstrate that they're two separate strands, really, and show the impact, you know, to each effectively.
That's great.
I know it's just that sometimes I know that speaking from experience of reviewing some of the applications, sometimes when bank statements have been presented, it hasn't always been clear that they're for two separate activities. So that's something to sort of consider in terms of how you present that financial information.
Thank you.
So Marcus, you've got some homework to do.
I thought Bob had his hand up,
Bob?
but was it that Bob disappeared?
Yeah, he has his hands up currently.
All right.
Come on, Bob.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Bob.
With regard to empty shops, what is the cut-off date in relation to that? Because I took an empty shop at the beginning of the year. It'd been empty for a year. Would that make us eligible for any of these grants in relation to empty shops?
I think the only thing that would make you eligible for is if, to say, you decided that you had some, so you could apply for a business resilience grant in terms of how you're expanding. The actual grant for the shop, this particular scheme was launched on the 3rd of December. So if we're looking at vacant shops, we are looking at vacant shops kind of now as opposed to then. Yeah, because the scheme wasn't in operation then, so no. But you could look at the business resilience one that talks about, you know, maybe you're doing something in relation to develop the shop so that you could do more. So you might think about taking on more products or rearranging things so that you're greener, and therefore, yeah. So they're things that you might want to look at. You might have a what do they call it, a green audit done, and then they might suggest that you do X, Y, or Z that will save you money. So you could apply under that basis.
Okay. Now, I think Marcus asked a question earlier on about checking whether he had previous grants. Who do we check up with, and what is their details?
So if you just send an email to business@royalgreenwich.gov.uk, they could advise whether you've had a grant in the past or not.
Right, could you repeat that address, please?
Business.
Yep.
At Royal Greenwich.
Yep.
.gov.uk. Sorry, there's no chat. I would have said I'll put it in the chat.
No. But if I can just say, Bob, what we will do when we send out the link today, we can give you the information later.
Yeah, that's fine.
Give all of that for you.
And we will try and put up the frequently asked questions on the website as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you.
So
Thank you, Bob.
To contact CELSI, South East London Community Energy, and they'll do your free green business audit. And then that gets us back to, it's 10:55 to the plug that we will be doing a lot more on green businesses in 2022. Not 2022. Do we get the right year? Do we have any more questions?
Sorry, Helen, do you mind if I just quickly come in there. It was just in response to Bob there. So I was just going to say, Bob, you should have got the restart grant, but obviously if you contact us, we can sort of confirm that that's the case. So yeah, I'm presuming that the nature of your business, you should have been eligible to qualify for the restart grant when those were being when businesses were being contacted about that. The other thing that I just wanted to mention across the board really is that we're sort of promoting the Greenwich One Card scheme. So Bob, in terms of the nature of your business, if you do it, we're sort of promoting, doing a shop local campaign, encouraging local residents to use their local businesses and services, and any businesses that are able to offer a concession or discount, they'll get a free listing on the council website. So yeah, do consider that, you know, as well on the lead up to Christmas and beyond.
Absolutely. And Bob, we are South East London Chamber, we're working with Greenwich on the One Card, so we'll really be in touch definitely with you. And I think it'll probably realistically, because the Chamber office goes on its Christmas holiday as from tomorrow, so we'll be in touch with you in the new year on that one. So any more yellow hands, Senga?
No, no more yellow hands.
No more yellow hands. Well, I would like to thank Patricia and Mervyn for a really excellent presentation this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. You will be able to see the recording later. We will give you the, all information. Go to the Royal Borough of Greenwich's website and off we go. And I'd like to take the opportunity of wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, and please have a rest, but get those forms going. Okay, thank you so much all. Bye.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Merry Christmas.